Ashli Oliver here, designing for the Roben-Marie Smith design team. And today I'm going to be making 2 collaged and stamped gift bags for the holiday season, full of what I hope to be some lovely mixed media yumminess. So I am inspired constantly by these products from Roben-Marie. They are always a good starting point. So I have these Art Pops Wait For Me cards. I'm thinking these might make really good gift tags. Then I have all of these beautiful stamps, the Urban Fringe sticker tape, not stamps, tape. That's the word I was looking for. The Wait For Me tape, the Urban Fringe sticker tape 2, the Wait For Me sticker shapes 1. These are a personal favorite. The Wait For Me arrows. Can you tell I like the Wait For Me collection? The Wait For Me sticker shapes number 2. And the Urban Fringe is also a favorite, and these are the sticker shapes. Now, most specifically for this project, I'm super inspired by these doodly stamps. This one, and this one. These are from the Mixed Media Essentials number 1. I might also use some other ones on here, but those are the ones that I'm mostly inspired by because I feel like these circular and curvy shapes of these stamps will contrast really nicely this rectangular shape of the gift bag. So I'm going to get started and let you watch along, and I'll pop back in here and there to tell you what I'm doing, and enjoy. Okay, so just to get started here, I have pulled a bunch of scraps from my scrap drawer, and that also includes kind of some jelly printed like security envelope things and just some various bits from the scrap drawer. And so I'm just kind of tearing and cutting and using a glue stick to adhere them to my bag. Now, it's worth noting that I have put a folded up piece of cardstock inside each bag so that as I'm doing all this mixed media fun and glue and all kinds of things, I don't want my bag to get stuck to itself. I still want this to be a functional gift bag. So I just have that stuck in there. And you'll notice too that I'm working 2 at a time. And you might think, well, why isn't she doing 3 at a time? I have found just through trial and error that when I am in 2 at a time, I still feel very much like, a good flow. It doesn't feel repetitive. I don't feel like I'm in an assembly line. It's just really easy to kind of work back and forth. When I add that third one in, and maybe this is just me, I start to feel like I'm just doing step-by-step assembly, and it kind of takes some of the fun out of it for me. So that's why I'm sticking with 2. But of course, try for more if you can do that and still have fun with it. So I used some sticker remnants you can see there that I added with kind of the dark black lines around them. And then now I have some tissue paper with some polka dots. And I'm just continuing on collaging up these bags. you'll notice that I got everything done like I wanted on the first side, and then I turned the bags over and just flipped down that flap and then just continued on in that way working on the back of the bags. So now I'm back to the front again, and I have a palette knife and some gesso, and I am in a very messy way just kind of going over everything lightly. I want a transparent look. I definitely still want to see all of that yummy pattern and color and texture from the collage. But what this does is not only just kind of soften things, which is a look that I like, but it also kind of helps give a little bit of unity and kind of just brings everything together. So I used my heat tool to get that dry, and then I have flipped them over to the back side, and I am repeating that same idea, just softening and getting everything nice and unified. Okay, so that's good and dry, and I'm on the front side of my bags, and it is time to start playing with some of these awesome products. So I have just applied some of the round stickers, and now I'm using the sticker tape. And you'll notice that I am letting the sticker hang off the side. I will be trimming that off. And something important to note when you're trimming a bag, be really careful that you don't trim like the part that the fold where it makes it a functional bag, because we do want these to work in the end. So I just carefully trim that and then use the little remnant of it on another area. I've turned over one bag here on the left, and I'm just applying some more tape. And because these are self-adhesive, it's really easy just to get them down there. And the thing that I love about these is they actually stick. It's so fantastic. We've all had stickers that don't really stick, and these are not those. So I enjoy just being able to put them down and know that they're going to stay there. So just trimming those off as well, and making sure that I use that extra little piece. I don't want to waste any of the yummy stuff. And so I've gone through my stickers, and now I'm just selecting some stamps, and I'm going to go ahead and get that going on my bags. I have some Stays On ink here that's actually been re-inked with archival. So it's kind of a, hybrid ink pad. And I'm just using double stick tape to get this nice and down on my stamp block. And that way I don't have to worry about anything moving around. I'm not the neatest stamper, so, that kind of helps me out. So just getting that good and inked up, and then just stamping right along the edge of where I had applied that sticker tape, and I think that looks really nice. I love how the linear element of the stamp really reinforces the linear element of, the shape of our bags, but the doodles really help kind of bring a nice circular and organic shape. So it's a really good contrast, and I'm liking the way that this is working. So just inking this up again and just continuing on with my stamping. Okay, my stamping is done, and now I've grabbed my number 2 pencil, and I'm just going to sketch some little lady faces on these bags. I want one face on each bag, and I'm not worried about making these bags match perfectly. While they will definitely coordinate because I'm working on them at the same time, that's just inherently going to happen. But I'm not concerned about making the ladies match. I mean, they're just going to be what they're going to be. And you'll see as I continue on sketching here that they're going to go in different places on the bag. And that's due mostly to the colors and the shapes that ended up just happening on my bag. And that is kind of how I decided where to put the faces, just in areas where they wouldn't be competing too much with other things that were going on. So I'm just going to carry on kind of filling out the face, sketching, and just adding kind of some shading with my pencil and just getting all of the features of the face on the bags. All right, I've got my ladies pretty much all sketched out here, and now I'm just going to start working on their faces. So the first thing I've done here is I've grabbed a smaller brush and I'm going back into my gesso and really just kind of muting down some of the collage elements that I feel like might compete with the portrait. I do want, while I want them to feel sort of very part of the whole collage and very part of the background, I do want your eye to know where to look. I don't want it to be a conflict of interest. So the focus needs to be on the face in these areas. And so this white is just helping to kind of push back some of that pattern. So I'm just going to continue on here, building out my faces with areas of light and dark and just making them come to life. Okay, guys, so as I have been sort of adding elements of color and shading and light and dark, I've been sort of carrying it out through the bag just to maintain a nice cohesiveness in the colors that are happening in the faces as well as around the bags. And I've worked with mostly watercolor and my number 2 pencil to this point. And so once all of that is dry, I have grabbed some acrylic paint, and it's just some craft store cheapy paint that's kind of this peach color, and I'm adding some white to it just to create sort of a pseudo flesh tone kind of idea. Nothing super realistic, but just kind of the idea. And I'm coming into the face with that, and what this is going to do is not only kind of unify all of these crazy colors that I have going on, but it's also going to just sort of nod ever so slightly to realism. While obviously this is not a realistic portrait, I think we've all figured that out by now. Um, Adding in the flesh tone just sort of prompts your eye and your brain to read portrait. And I think it's a neat juxtaposition between sort of the realism of that with kind of the crazy colors as well. And it's something I like to do in my work, and so I'm doing it on these bags. And as you can see, I'm just working with my small brush and kind of just blending it out. I am not too concerned about staying in the lines or anything like that. I'm just getting the color on there and using it to blend and soften all of that crazy shading that I did with like the blues and purples and things. And then I'm taking that same color and just kind of blending it around other areas of the bag just for some visual continuity and balance. And then I can use it to my advantage to sort of soften areas that I want to soften, push back some colors, and then just kind of highlight some other areas. So I'm just continuing on with my flesh tone here. Okay, so I got my flesh tone all kind of around the bag like I wanted. I'm still just on the first side of the bag, and now I have grabbed back my gesso, and I'm still using that small brush, and I'm using this to just highlight again certain areas on the page in the face and the other design elements. And so I've kind of made some white circles around some areas and just getting things to pop. When you add contrast, you add pop and sort of a dynamic energy to your composition. So just adding this nice bright white in with all these colors does just that. It gives me a nice element of contrast. And so I'm just kind of going in and doing some of my own circles just to echo the themes that I have going on from the art pops and the stickers and the stamps. And then now what I want to do, because the original intention of all of this is to have some holiday gift bags. And so I kind of want to, I don't want to be too literal, but I want to add a little bit of sort of that holiday feeling with a more traditional red and green. So I've grabbed some Dina Wakley red here, and I'm using another small brush and just applying some little dots and kind of smudging some red around. And I don't want to overpower things. Red can really kind of take over. So I'm using a light hand, but I do want your eye to see that there is a traditional kind of red and green happening. So just kind of applying it in just certain areas, making sure that it's visually balanced. If I apply some on the left side, I'm going to apply some on the right side. If I do some on the top, I should do some on the bottom, that kind of thing. So here's a green. This is a Dilutions green acrylic paint. And I'm doing the exact same thing that I did with the red, using the brush and then using my finger to just sort of smudge it around the page and get everything visually balanced. Okay, I've got my red and green on there. I've dried it with my heat tool, and now it is time to add a little holiday cheer. And so I am using the word cheers, and I just am writing this on a white piece of cardstock with my Faber-Castell Pitt pen. And then where the E's kind of closed up and I didn't have that opening in the middle, I used my white Signo just to kind of highlight that back out. And then I'm just simply cutting around the words. And the reason I chose cheers is that I really like the idea that the recipients of these gift bags would kind of maybe want to use them again. Of course, if they want to keep them, that's fine too. Hopefully they won't throw them away, but hey, once the gift is given, that's up to them. But at any rate, if they wanted to use them again, I liked the idea of it potentially working for something other than holiday, even though that's sort of my intention. Cheers can work for a lot of things. It could be a congratulatory thing, it'd be for a birthday. There's lots of reasons that that would work. So that's what I decided to go with. And so I just glued those down with my glue stick, and now I've got my sentiment all set. And I'm using that same Pitt pen to just go into the faces and just bring out a little bit more contrast and kind of redefine some areas that got lost in the painting shuffle. And so just, highlighting those areas that would be the darkest on the face, really, and redefining the jawline there. Okay, and so once I have my pen work kind of all set, I'm going to grab my pencil and then just do like some really messy kind of doodly, scribbly things around these little red dots and then just in various other places. And this just kind of adds just sort of one little layer of texture and kind of a nice little final handmade scribble feel that I really like. And so I'm just rinsing out my brush. I've gone back into the gesso just to get those final highlights and maybe a little in her eyes there, kind of in the whites of her eye, just really making sure that I have enough pop on their faces. And so I'm really liking how the fronts of these are looking. I'm just adding a little bit more contrast here. If you use these Pitt pens before they dry, they're very smudgy. And so if I am really quick, I can just take my finger and kind of smudge it out. And then I use that just to kind of add a couple little more contrast bits there. And then I'm just making sure that everything is good and dry here before I start messing with anything else. And now I'm going to go ahead and turn them over. And you might think, oh my goodness, you have to do it all again. Yeah, I mean, yes and no. Because this is the back of the bag, I'm not as focused on making it the focal because it's not, it's the back of the bag. But I still want it to look like it was addressed. I don't want it to look like I forgot about it. So I'm really just using a very wet brush and my watercolors to just get some color all over these bags and to make them look like they have been thought about and given some attention, even though it's the back. Okay, so I applied watercolor, acrylic, scribbly lines, and got the backs all set. And now I am grabbing my Art Pop cards that I mentioned at the very beginning that I thought would make some really cute gift tags. And that's what I'm going to work on right now. So I have pulled out two of the smaller cards that I really like, and they are more pink than red in color, and I really like the pink on there, but I do just want to add some of the red, so that's what I'm doing here. Just use my finger. And then I'm going to use some of this Dilutions Mist just to sort of soften them a bit. It's just a white mist, very simple, just spray it on. And then it's still wet, so I have to be a little bit careful, but I kind of don't mind it sort of playing around a little bit with that blue. So I got the blue on there, went ahead and dried it with my heat tool, and then I'm just using my scissors to cut a little V shape in the bottom so that it looks kind of like a gift tag. And not measuring or anything, just cutting freehand. And I think that looks really cute. And then just folding over the top is going to give it another little element that makes it look like a finished gift tag. And then I went ahead and grabbed a little bowl full of goodies, and I'm just adding some sequins that I have in my stash just to give that little extra kind of sparkle, which I think is really fun. And I love that the backs of these cards are white, so I will be able to write, who it's for and a little bit of a message if I want to. And so those are drying, and I am just punching a hole. This is a crocodile punch, which by no means is necessary. It's just what I had nearby. You can use any hole punch. And then I'm just threading some twine through. And I added some green buttons also to the tag, so I think it's really fun. They have that red and green thing going on for Christmas or, holiday season. And just getting that twine threaded through. Going ahead and opening my bag just to kind of check it out. And then all I have to do is just attach my gift tags like you see here. And that is the finished project. I had so much fun working on these, and I hope it has inspired you to make some messy mixed media gift bags for your next event or for the upcoming holiday. Thanks for watching.